Hello everyone, Wild Spirit Stables here. Today I'm going to be going over a little bit of live show etiquette tips. These are just some things that kind of bother me when I'm at a show, and yeah, they're just some things that stand out to me that people really need to focus on when you're at a show. It's just being super polite about things. So first and foremost, the thing that bothers me the absolute most is when you take your horse up to the table. Say like I'm bringing up Albarosa right there. I might think that he's the best horse in the world, that Albarosas always win ribbons. I'm totally going to get a ribbon with him. I might even get a Nan card with him. You know what? I might bring him up to the table, and it gets pinned, and I realize, oh no, he doesn't have a ribbon. At that point, do not be a sore loser, I guess I can say. Don't be like, oh no, my best horse in the whole wide world didn't get a ribbon. What's wrong? What's wrong with the judge? Don't do that. Just because you think your horse might be the best horse in the world doesn't mean it actually is. So please keep that in mind when you're showing. Don't be upset if you don't win, because every show is different. Like, you might have a horse that wins at almost every show it goes to. And then say you go to another show and he doesn't even come close to placing. All the judges are different. It's all based on the judge's preference. Like, one judge might place this guy above Albaroso because the judge might have a preference for older molds. And so you just got to think of that. Don't be upset if you don't win anything. And don't complain about it, really, because that's annoying when you have a shower there with you that's complaining because their horse is never placed. They think the judge is playing favorites. It's like, no. The judge is not playing favorites, I promise. You'll be able to tell when the judge is playing favorites. But it's just your horse, and don't go up to them and be like, oh, why didn't my horse place? Why didn't my horse place? Be polite about it and be like, oh, hey, is there anything I can do next time to improve my entry? Or is there a reason why this horse got a ribbon over my horse? And they can tell you. It can be something as simple as, oh, you had a whole lot of dust between your horse's ears. Or it can be something up to, like, there's a big rub on your horse, or a giant shiny mark on your horse that you might not have noticed. So that's the nice thing about asking judges and being polite about it. And to go along these same lines, don't be an ungrateful winner. Don't be one of those people that rubs it into everyone's faces when your horse wins. We'll go with the same example here. Say, I think he's the best horse in the world, and suddenly I go up and he wins first place. I can be like, oh, that's so awesome. I won a first place. That's really cool. He's one of my favorite horses. I'm glad he won first place. And just leave it at that. Don't be one of those people that goes up to your table buddy and is all like, oh, look at me, my horse got first place and yours only got sixth, and blah 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 blah. Look at this, my horse is gonna win champion. Oh, it's gonna win overall champion. Look at this, my horse is the best in the world. It can go to Nan and do all this. Please don't do that. I've seen people doing that before, where they'll rub it in people's faces that their horse happens to win and the other people's horse doesn't win. They really like to rub it in people's faces, and that's just rude. So I know it seems obvious, but please do not do that. Because if you do it, then everyone else thinks it's okay, and everyone else will start doing it, and it will not be a fun show. Alright. Next, when you get to the show early in the morning and start setting up your table, like say you see me taking out my horses out of their pony pouches, and I'm setting them up on the table. At that point, that's not a good time to come over and socialize with me. That's not a good time to come over and be like, oh, hey, how's it going? How are you doing today? Don't do that. Please don't. We're all freaking out at this point, stressing out about getting our horses onto the table and making sure that our horses don't do a whole domino effect. That's always the worst part of the show, is early in the morning when everyone is setting up their table because everyone's stressing out and making sure none of their horses got any new rubs and blah, 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 all of that fun stuff. And if anyone's like me, I get a little bit twitchy when I'm nervous. And so in the mornings at the show, that's a prime time for me to be pretty nervous. And so if you come up to me and scare me, which is not hard to do, I'm pretty easy to scare, but I might jump and knock over some of my horses. And that would not be fun. You don't want to be responsible for knocking over anyone's collections and causing damage to them. And the same goes for judges. Don't talk to them until you know they're available, until they're not judging a class, when they're not talking to anyone else, when it looks like they're okay. It's like when you're at home and you want to tell your parents something, but you're waiting until you're like, okay, gotta wait until they're in a good mood, and then they'll say yes. You know, something like that. So that's kind of the same idea. And then, let's see, what else? Also, when it comes to like the silent auctions that are at shows, don't hover over what you want. Like, say there's a little Marabella for sale on the auction table. Don't hover over her and keep putting your entries down or hovering over the person next to you. And anytime someone else puts an auction number in, then you'll go in and put another one in. Don't do that. Let other people have a chance too. Don't steal all the auctions from people. And then, of course, some of the obvious things. Don't run around the show hall. Don't do that. Don't bump into people's tables. Just be nice. Just remember that, hey, if I don't want somebody bumping into my table, then I'm sure people don't want me bumping into their table. So those are just some pretty easy little things. And don't, again, I'll repeat again, don't brag about your horses. Don't brag that you have the best one-of-a-kind horses in the whole entire world. That you have all these stone one-of-a-kind horses and Breyer one-of-a-kinds and Breyer auction models and Breyer raffle models and whatnot. Don't do that. Please don't. And yeah, so that's my little etiquette video rant type thing. Just some things that bother me when I go to shows. So yeah, so that's it. And wild spirit out.